Fasting is one of the deepest mysteries of spirituality. While many see it merely as abstaining from food, there is a hidden truth behind this practice. Fasting is not just about deprivation, it's about activation. It awakens something within you. It sharpens your spiritual perception. And when you practice it correctly, invisible doors begin to open. Think about the great men of the Bible. Moses fasted for 40 days before receiving the tablets of the law. Elijah fasted and was then transported to a dimension where he heard the voice of God. Daniel fasted and received prophetic visions that still echo today. And Jesus, he himself fasted for 40 days before starting his ministry, before performing miracles, before facing Satan in the wilderness. Do you think that was a coincidence? It wasn't. Fasting is a spiritual switch, something that activates the senses that have been dormant within you. Your body may feel hunger, but your soul feeds on the supernatural. And when the spirit is strengthened, it begins to see what was once hidden. Have you ever wondered why many people cannot have visions, do not hear the voice of God, and live a lukewarm spiritual life? It's because they are so full of the things of this world that there is no room for the divine to manifest. Now, imagine yourself fasting with purpose, seeking an answer, a direction. At first, it may be difficult. Your body cries out for food. But then, something changes. You start to notice signs that previously went unnoticed. Your intuition becomes sharper. Your dreams gain deeper meaning. Coincidences are no longer coincidences. God begins to speak, and when he speaks, everything changes. Fasting is not about starving. It is about mastering your flesh to strengthen your spirit. When you fast, you silence the world and connect with heaven. What once seemed impossible begins to make sense. Have you ever experienced this? Have you ever felt the clarity that comes when you put your flesh into submission and allow your spirit to lead the way? And here's the secret. The more you commit to purposeful fasting, the more intense your spiritual experiences become. The visions come not because you forced them, but because your spirit is finally ready to receive them. It's like adjusting an antenna to pick up a frequency that was previously inaudible. The signal was always there, but you were tuned in to the wrong station. And now, I ask you, are you ready to activate your spiritual vision? To see beyond the natural? If so, then it's time to understand that fasting is not an outdated practice. It is a key that can open doors you never imagined. And the only question left is, will you use it? When we look at the Bible, we see that fasting has always been linked to moments of great revelation. But there is something even deeper to understand. Fasting is not just a physical sacrifice, but a spiritual preparation. It is a sign that you are willing to let go of your dependence on the world and seek a higher level of connection with God. The prophet Isaiah revealed that true fasting goes beyond merely abstaining from food. God is not pleased with mechanical fasting, done without purpose. He desires a fast that transforms, one that breaks chains, frees the oppressed, and elevates a person to a higher level of spiritual consciousness. Have you ever stopped to think about this? The Pharisees fasted out of tradition, but their hearts were far from God. They cared more about the appearance of fasting than its true meaning. And Jesus rebuked them, because fasting without purpose, without a genuine desire for transformation, is nothing more than a religious diet. But when fasting is done with purpose, it becomes powerful. It becomes a tool of spiritual warfare. And those who understand this experience, things that few dare to imagine, visions, revelations, divine directions. Now think, what if the answer you seek is on the other side of a sincere fast? What if that unanswered prayer only required one more sacrifice? What if your spiritual vision is blocked because your spirit is weighed down by the distractions of this world? Fasting is mentioned multiple times in the Bible as a way to draw closer to God and gain spiritual clarity. But how exactly does it activate spiritual visions? In the first days of fasting, your flesh resists. Your body craves food, comfort, routine. But as you persist, something begins to happen. Your spirit starts to rise above your flesh. Your mind quiets. The noise of the world fades. And then, God speaks. Have you ever noticed that many of the greatest revelations in the Bible happened during fasting? Moses received the commandments. Daniel had visions. Peter received the revelation that the gospel should reach the Gentiles. What do these experiences have in common? Fasting prepared them to see what was previously hidden. The truth is that God is always speaking. He is always showing signs, but we are too distracted. Fasting acts as a filter that removes the noise and allows us to see with greater clarity. And now, an important question. Are you willing to pay the price to activate your spiritual vision? Are you willing to disconnect from the world to connect with the supernatural? If so, then you are on the path to experiencing something that few ever do. You are about to see with the eyes of the Spirit, and that can change everything. But what happens after the vision comes? Many think the experience ends at the moment of revelation, but the real challenge begins afterward. What will you do with what God has shown you? How will you act upon a clear direction that was once hidden? In the Bible, every vision comes with a call to action. When Daniel received his revelations, he prayed and interceded. When Elijah fasted and heard God, he received instructions to continue his ministry. Fasting is not just about seeing, it is about acting. God does not reveal something merely to satisfy our curiosity, but to lead us into a greater purpose. And here is a truth that few talk about. After fasting comes the test. The enemy will try to steal your vision, plant doubts, and divert your focus. Are you prepared for this? Are you willing to fight for what God has shown you to come to pass? If you want to live a life where the supernatural manifests constantly, you need to understand that fasting is a lifestyle, not a one-time event. It is not just for moments of desperation, but for maintaining a continuous connection with God. The final question is, are you ready to go beyond? Not just to have visions, but to live according to them. If so, then it is time to take the next step. Fasting is the key, but it is up to you to use it.